Hello and welcome to this special program for the National Herald YouTube channel. Today, my guest is Mr. Salman Khurshid, former Foreign Minister of India. Obviously, we are going to talk to him about the situation in Ukraine and how the war is going on there. Welcome, Salman bhai. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका.
Thank you very much.
I mean, what is happening? It seems that the world is at the precipice of a nuclear war. It's something really very maddening, very terrifying situation there. How do you look at it?
Well, I think that to say that this is worrisome is perhaps an understatement. I think it's horrifying and frightening, whatever is happening, particularly references to nuclear weapons and
Right.
constant reminder that the Third World War would be a war of nuclear weapons. I must say that in this entire episode, although it may not have gone entirely to Ukraine's benefit, but there is something to be said for NATO and the United States of America having held back themselves and their forces from actually confronting Russian forces directly.
Yeah.
I think that's a foresight there, or perhaps just good sense that has prevailed. Otherwise, we would be in a much worse position than we are as the world. We would be in a much worse position.
You mean Putin is behaving irresponsibly while the West, led by America, has shown restraint so far?
See, it's very difficult to say any of these things outright because there are two considerations. One is that we are all, I think everybody is against violence. We are against violence, we are against war. And the global demand is that there should be ceasefire and we should get back to peace and peaceful negotiations. So it's important when you take that position that you don't appear to be taking sides in what is a very difficult condition, that you don't appear to be taking sides, particularly between friends. I think I have emphasized this repeatedly, that this is between friends. How do you take sides? But having said that, I must also say that with friends, you must have some ability to communicate the truth and to exercise discretion and to exercise such sound and sensible advice that your friend needs, if for nothing else, if not for themselves, at least for you. You're a friend and you have implications and consequences for you that you certainly would want the friends to keep in mind.
You mean the government of India has not been able to convey that it is the position that you are underlining, that we have not been able to convey to any government, either the Russians or the Americans, that they can play a role or do something. What do you think of the Indian government role?
Let me just say that.
You are smiling, so...
No, let me just say two things very quickly. Whenever there is an international crisis, it's awkward. It's awkward to be seen on the wrong side with the government of the day.
Right.
I think it's just a sensible caution, courtesy that you extend to your own government.
Right.
Even if they don't have the sensitivity to consult you and share anything with you. You still do. You still do. But the important thing really is, and I think that it has to be said now, if not later, is that we don't see any signs of that goodwill and that friendship that we could have banked upon as a government. Have we banked upon some goodwill with the United States of America or with Russia? Have we some access to their responses? I mean, just small phone calls about saying, why are you doing this? Don't do it. Please let our students come out and then you do it, etc. I'm not sure that that's how a gravitas showing government that has the confidence that it has the goodwill and the welfare of two friends in mind and who would respond as friends. I'm not quite sure that we've seen anything of that kind at all. All we see is that we've done a wonderful job. What wonderful job we've done, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Really. And so, but just not the diplomatic part of playing a role in the war. I mean, if you look at the situation there and the way our students are holed up there, literally they are bunkers, they are in bad situation. Today I was reading a report which says that they don't have even food. Sometimes they don't have water. So it seems that the MEA seems to have completely messed it up.
Now, what you want me to say harsh things about the ministry that I with great love and affection handled.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, truth has to be told. Frankly, we have appeared in this affair as though we've never done anything of this kind before. I mean, we have done evacuation from Libya, from Afghanistan,
Iraq, from Afghanistan,
from Iraq, from Kuwait. We've done, and across governments, we've done evacuations. And I do believe that those evacuations were rather well done, irrespective of who was in government at that time.
Certainly, I remember I've reported them. I've reported.
Yes, and our bureaucrats and our diplomats were outstanding, absolutely. Right. And of course the Air India and Indian Air Force certainly outstanding service at that time. Now the experience of having done this doesn't seem to have surfaced anywhere in the present circumstances. You know
But why? I mean, I'm a little amazed about it.
Gosh, listen, you're putting me into a difficult position.
Not really.
If you think that the world revolves around you,
oh, that's right.
Then you don't worry about these small things, right? The world revolves around you. You're the Vishwaguru.
Delusion.
Yeah, and then all you do is you just twist your finger and everything will fall into place. But that's not how it works. There are people, different countries who are looking at their self-interest. I understand. And I think that we didn't need a premonition. I think anybody who watches international relations knew that we could get to a push come to shove. And therefore we should have had enough steps taken before we reached the point where the evacuation became necessary. And I think we've just sadly failed on all those fronts.
You mean there was no blueprint ready for it at all?
Well, if there was a blueprint, I would want to see it. I think it's more blue than print, as far as I can see. And it's very sad, but having said that, I still pray and hope that the children will come out, and that now that we have speeded up the process of evacuation, I hope that all our young people will be back soon, and that at least we'll have one less worry. We'll still have the worry about the matter exploding to a larger scale, but we'll have one less worry at least of our dear ones being back in the country.
Everybody is praying for the safe return of the students. You are right, but we should also pray for the good sense to prevail within MEA as well. So, shifting now back to the situation, the war front, how do you look at it? How is it shaping up? What can be done to stop this madness?
Well, I mean, you can't now step in and stop. Right. You should have had stature, and you should have an understanding and a position where you should have anticipated something like this happening. Now, if you tell me that people didn't anticipate Ukraine going the path that it was taking and the Russians reacting in the manner in which they reacted, then you know nothing about international relations. Frankly, we must, without taking sides and without giving credit to anyone, clearly there is a stateable case as far as the Russians are concerned, which has to do with security, their strategic comfort. That they may be right or they may be wrong, but there is a case for it, and they have been harping on this case for a while. Then
you mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. You mean they were not comfortable with the NATO trips moving closer to their border and coming over to Ukraine.
Well, forget about them. We wouldn't be comfortable. Will we be
Right,
comfortable
right,
if NATO came next door? We wouldn't be, right?
right,
And we are good friends with America, but we will not be comfortable if NATO came next door. But it's a stated position, and you can argue about it, you can debate it, you can discuss it, but it's a stated position. Similarly, there's a stated position of Ukraine. They have become an independent country some years ago from Russia. They've had problems with Russia. They had problems in Crimea. They've had problems in other parts,
right,
and that their aspiration as a nation, which is expressed by a popularly elected leader of Ukraine, which includes a lot of things. It includes European Union for trade and other purposes. It includes NATO for purposes of security, which includes democracy, perhaps a separate and different level. It includes cultural preservation and so on and so
right.
forth. I think all that is their stated case, and that stated case also can be discussed. But the point is that it is not a wild, blind confrontation. There are two stated cases.
Right.
And have we all failed? Has the world failed these two friends? Some may be more friends, some may be less friendly, etc. But they are friends. And when I say Ukraine, then of course you factor in the United States of America and all the allies of the United States of America, many of whom are very good friends of India.
Right. So, but there is a conspiracy theory going around that the Russians were basically trapped by the Americans, and they walked into a trap, not realizing where they heading to.
Well, I mean, if it was a trap laid for them, it's a very bad trap. I mean, it's a very poor trap, because the person who was laying the trap seems to have got his fingers caught in the trap as well. So if it's a conspiracy theory, it's not going very far. They have achieved something. The Russians have achieved something, but they've come nowhere near what they would have set out to achieve. But the others have not achieved very much. What have they achieved by rushing weapons and rushing assistance?
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was saying that the people some commentators are saying that the Americans trapped Russia in this situation.
No, I understand.
And they walked into it.
I took that point, but if Americans laid the trap, then I'm sorry, it was a very poor trap, because it's a trap that's pinched their fingers as well as they were laying it. So I'm not quite sure. So people are talking about the emergence of a new world order.
Right.
Now, is the emergence of the new world order going to be that Russia will go wherever it wants to go and nobody will be able to stop it because they don't want a nuclear war? Is that the emergence of the new world order? Is the emergence of new world order that you will not even have the guts, quite rightly so, not have the guts to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine? Is that the emergence of a new world order? I mean, it's a messy new world order. If that's the world order that's emerging, and if that's the world order that was, in a sense, on the menu as far as the West is concerned. So without actually putting a permanent question mark on strategies of the West, or as you said, conspiracy theories of the West or regarding the West, and without putting any question mark on the Russian Federation that has a stated case, we can clearly see that we are all going to be uncomfortable with continued violence. I really wish India had the stature and standing to step in and say, all right, enough is enough. Please, no further, because we are getting affected. But
that's right.
I'm not quite sure India has said that.
Not so far, and it doesn't seem to be coming this soon. One last question. How real is the threat of a nuclear war, and how serious it is? Yesterday, I think the world was really, when the nuclear power plant was attacked, everybody was...
I think there are multiple dimensions to this, because there are nuclear plants around and they can sustain damage, and the damage may not be intended, but that damage can create more Chernobyls or worse than Churchill.
Right, right.
In which case there are no winners. I mean, Russian forces that are in the vicinity are not going to really escape radiation, as indeed the owners of those power plants will not escape radiation. And how far will it go? That's one particularly very serious problem of collateral damage. There is much collateral damage is going on, but this is a very serious nature of collateral damage. And then, as I said, if the NATO were to go a step further, then you get into a direct confrontation. There's no direct confrontation today.
Right.
Till such time as Russia comes to a conclusion that economic sanctions are also a direct confrontation. They haven't yet at least reached that point. But if there is a physical contact, if there's a physical hostile contact between the West and Russia, of course, there's a serious danger of a nuclear weapon being exploded. And if nuclear war is to happen, then we are all hit by it. I mean, we may have no special reason to be taking sides, but the nuclear war will not ask, have you taken sides, have you not taken sides? It'll just drop right on top of us. And therefore, for the world, that includes India, it's an extremely, extremely irresponsible posture to be in, to allow at least things to get to a level where nuclear war is being talked about. I think it's really, really sad.
Thank you so much, Salman Saab. You explained everything to our viewers, and we will keep you bothering to understand the situation.
Thank you.
As and when developing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Let's hope for the best.
We should pray for the best.
Yep.
Thank you.